Welcome to the first of probably many Sickos Committee podcast episodes. We're still trying to figure this out, so we'll get there when we get there. My name is Jordan. I'm VP of Graphic Design and a bunch of other stuff. And with me is the man in charge, the head sicko, Commissioner Escalante. Commissioner, how are you doing tonight?
It's been an interesting weekend, and just happy to discuss the poll that we did over the past week, and looking forward to sharing that with all of you.
I think that we were both very happy to get to this part of the season where we're finally no longer just waiting for things to happen. Things are actually going to happen.
Yeah, I think everybody, we're doing the daily, like we have only 4 days left until the season kicks off, or only 8 days left, or we start tweeting random bunting videos. But yeah, we're actually looking forward to the football. I'm just gonna say that.
I know. I think that a lot of our followers are going to be very happy when we're back to football, and my korfball shit posting is no longer front and center.
We watched the entire USFL season. I've been getting really, really, really into the Canadian Football League. I even have a preference to their commentating teams. I miss college football.
Oh my
I'm
God.
just gonna say that.
Oh my God.
I miss college football.
Yeah, I can totally imagine. Who is your CFL team right now?
I've been following the Ottawa Red Blacks because they're the worst team in the league, and that's what Sickos do.
Yep.
Also, I think I've kind of enjoyed the Saskatchewan Roughriders because they started out really hot, and then they lost like 4 in a row. And for some odd reason, I was listening to CFL Talk Radio after the
Oh my
Rough
God.
Riders lost 4 in a row, and it was the politest, angriest Canadians I've ever heard. They were not happy with the coach, and instead of saying that coach should be fired in like the next week, they said, well, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years or so, he may need to move on.
The idea that he just doesn't have enough time yet. Give him some more time. He's fine. That's so
Very
polite. That's so beautiful. Okay, well, we had our big poll this week. It was great. This is sort of the first poll we had in our new year, and we got a ton of responses. And we love it when folks send in just random stuff, and we'll talk about the random stuff too. Let's talk about that now, I guess. What were some of those extra receiving vote things that you really enjoyed there?
Well, there was a few that I really love when our followers get creative. Since we only give you like 10 spots to vote, it's great when they use one of the 10 spots for something, just outlandish.
Of course, yeah.
We have the standard vote for Fansville, Finlandia University. Duke's Mayo Bowl made the poll, with 8 points, but didn't make the top, 25 or anything like that. But just some of those random votes that the followers come up with, it's incredibly entertaining, and we really, really love like all the submissions they get and they submit through, just because it's a completely silly process what we're doing here. They take the time to fill out the poll. I know it doesn't take too long, but we appreciate every submission. What is my favorite one that I've seen? I'm upset that somebody actually put Popeyes in the Sickos poll. I don't know why.
That's disappointing.
I don't know why somebody
Yeah.
did that. You can't put Popeyes on blast like that. It's always
They-
going to
they
be
may have
20
had-
minutes for spicy.
They may have
Oh.
had a bad day there. Like, I went to
Okay.
Popeyes the other day, and I was sort of just waiting in line for like 30 minutes because I don't know what. We'll say thank you to our fellow committee members who helped put this together, because we were just talking about this beforehand. Commissioner Escalante and I are not Google Sheets wizards, which is a weird thing to say. Some of our fellow folks, and you guys will meet them later on because they'll come on here and we'll talk to them. They help us a ton with this stuff, because otherwise we would be doing this for, God, we'd be just doing this for days and days and days on end.
What did we get? 435 different entries?
Yeah, something like that. Just an insane number. And, what we love doing on this poll is we'll put out, if you guys haven't been with us before, we put out sort of a list of everyone who got votes. So it may be in tiny little font. I try to shrink it down so you can barely read it. But know that if you submitted something that's legit, then we will absolutely put it on there and you will get to see it. And you will find out that, one person out there cares enough to list your team. So yeah, folks, we'll put up this whole list, but let's talk about our top 25. We're not going to spend a ton of time on each one of them because you guys know the reasons you put them here. We just like to see sort of what y'all did. Let's start with our number 25 team. Our number 25 team is Texas A&M. We have lots of fun offseason stuff from Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher decided to beef with Nick Saban. Last year they went 8-4, 4-4 in the SEC with an absolutely brutal loss to Mississippi State, and the next week turned around and beat Alabama. So I don't know about what A&M has in store for this year, but we will see what's going on. What do you think, Commissioner?
Yeah, I mean, A&M has, the high ranking. Preseason, they start out 7th. And then, I mean, there's expectations there. Do they finally make the leap, or do they just settle back in at 8-4 again?
Oh God, I
So
just want Aggie fans
there's
to be happy for once. I just really I really do want them to be happy. I'm not going to sit here and be sad, but yeah.
I have a few Aggie in-laws, so I would like for them to be happy, but not too overly happy, I would say.
Number 24, we have Tennessee. Last season was Josh Heupel's first season. They went 7-6, 4-4 in the SEC with a loss to Purdue. Sorry, a loss to Purdue in the Music City Bowl. So not
What are you
the way
talking about? They won that game.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Feinbaum
Yeah.
said it was okay.
Yeah, a lot of people said a lot of things about that. It isn't there. Tennessee had a weirdly good season last year. They only lost to really highly ranked opponents and lost to unranked Pitt, but that was before we knew Pitt was going to be good. So in retrospect, that seems fine. I like Tennessee this coming year. I'm not sure why they're on the Sickos list, but I'm not going to debate it.
Maybe because of the McDonald's scandal, I guess, for the paying the players and buying them McDonald's extra value meals. I don't know, but they were a lot of fun. Their offense was crazy, but I don't know if their defense is any good. So maybe that's why.
They go to Pitt this year, but we also don't know what Pitt's going to look like. So number 23 is going to be Cal. Cal went 5-7 last year, 4-4 in the Pac-12. Cal did the impossible. They lost to Arizona. No one else managed that.
I mean, I feel bad for them in that game because they had a lot of, I guess, a big part of their team missed out due to, I guess, COVID. And I mean, they
that was the COVID game, wasn't it? Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
they missed a
yes.
few things. I don't want to necessarily discount that. And then, the Pac-12 uneasiness with USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten. This kind of puts it in perspective. Also, they played in one of the ultimate Sickos games last year against USC when both teams were not bowl eligible or couldn't get the bowl eligibility, and they played on like the championship weekend. I mean, that game was fantastic. It was it was a game just fun to watch. I just put it that way. It was just playing for pride for both sides.
Now we have number 22. AP poll ranked Miami. Miami is under new management. They got Mario. They fired Manny after a 7-5 season. Miami is another team that I want them to do well because I want Miami fans to be happy again. Not to the point where the minute they start winning again, it's going to be throwing up the U and it's going to be that again. That's fine.
So you feel the same way how I feel with A&M. I want them to be happy, but not overly happy.
Right, because then it becomes a thing. They are going to Kyle Field to face Texas A&M early on.
That should be fun.
So that's going to be an anxiety fest for everyone involved.
Should be a good time for us.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to have an absolute blast with that because I can't think of there are lots of great culture clashes. Miami at Texas A&M feels like a really good one. Number 21 is Miami's partner in crime, Florida State. Mike Norvell, year 2. And coming off a year where they lost to number 9 Notre Dame and number 16 Jacksonville State. Unfortunately, that number 16 is an FCS team. So, how are you feeling about Florida State next year?
Are we talking about the Knowles?
I
think they made this ranking. I felt like they would be higher based off of that fire Mike Norvell space that they did after the number 1 recruit went to Jackson State. So
how many hours was that?
I don't remember. I was listening to it. I'm saying at least 4 to 5 hours that I was in there personally. But no, I was in that space for a while, and it was like a let it all out therapy session, and just everybody had to enter the Twitter space saying the phrase fire Mike Norvell first, and then they could talk. Yeah, definitely. I feel like just that space alone, they deserve to be in the top 25 of the Sickos poll.
And then number 20, actually on our list, is Florida State's opponent in week 2, LSU. Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge. LSU has these beautiful moments of clarity. It's like people who are just crazy and rambling, and then they say one thing and they're like, oh my god, it's totally clear, they make total sense. And that was the Joe Burrow season. And then now they're back to rambling incoherently, and I don't understand.
I grew up down there, so growing up in very, very South Louisiana, LSU is kind of, I'll just say it this way, they're a little bit like Auburn. They'll have like moments and breakthrough and win a national championship, and then here comes the crazy firing again. Which, I mean, and then when they added Brian Kelly, this is, for me personally, it's weird to see Brian Kelly as the coach of LSU, but I know we had a few votes for Brian Kelly's Southern accent.
Number 19, the sexiest coach alive besides Terry Bowden, Brett Bielema, year 2, looking fine. Bert, last year they opened up with that big win over Nebraska and then hit every tree on the way down, minus the most beautiful game alive, where they took out Penn State 20-18 in 9 overtimes.
I can't believe, I'm just looking at the attendance for that. It's at 105,001. Got to witness a 9 overtime game in person. I'm just jealous. I wish I was there.
That's, you know how many like therapists are going to make their living the next year with people talking about that game? That's a lot of people who are going to need some heavy therapy to get over what they saw. Number 18, Georgia Tech. Jeff Collins, what are you doing? Like what are you really? What are you trying here, my friend?
Jeff Collins has that ultimate soundbite where he says a lot of words and it basically doesn't sound like anything.
Yeah, anything is about,
like, yeah. Mm-hmm. We've been messing around on Twitter with, I think, was it Stats of War, Parker. He says like the phrases that everybody says in training camp, but I feel like Jeff Collins has those mastered. But Georgia Tech fans, their patience is running thin. Especially leaving the option a few years ago.
And if you listen to any of the other podcasts that we listen to, you know that Georgia Tech's upcoming schedule includes opening at number 4 Clemson. Not at Clemson. They're at number 4 Clemson at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, which is going to be a Clemson home game. Playing Ole Miss at home, and they're going to UCF. You don't have to do this to yourselves. Oh, of course, and at Georgia, because they always have to end at Georgia. Number 17, our boys from Monroe. The Terry Bowden experience rolls on for UL Monroe.
It's weird. This Sickos thing that started is just like, because as a college football fan, I felt like I'm the internet's only like ULM fan. I really didn't have much, I guess, connection on Twitter or anything like that with anybody. And this is kind of how I consume college football. Is basically like, I know my team that I'm following, which I do have other teams that I follow, based on where I'm from and my family and things of that nature. But basically, I would watch this on like ESPN3 or whatever it was on, and just root for them to win. I got to enjoy the magical 2007. I got to enjoy 2012. But the things at ULM is few and far between. I really just enjoy the experience, but like the college football experience for me is just like, there was never like a big yelling portion of Twitter that I could ever find about a ULM fan. And then I would always be watching the weird football games. Like I'm watching the stuff on ESPN3 while everybody else is like watching the main game on ESPN, and I'm like basically as far down the dial or on like a mobile app trying to watch the team that I went to, the school that I went to for many, many years, which this school is basically, they're the poorest one in FBS.
We found out what they're paying Terry Bowden like not even assistant money. They're paying Terry Bowden like if we found out that he got paid in like fresh catfish, that wouldn't be surprising. He probably gets a bunch of crawdads. Like that's probably what he gets paid in. I don't know. This is his retirement gig. He's enjoying it. I think
there was something that I was. I mean, he says it's his last job, but I mean, like he's over 65 now, I don't know how long he will be with ULM, and it's kind of weird for your coach to just say that, "Hey, this is my last job." Like it's one of those things. ULM pulled him back in for
Yeah,
one last
one
job,
last. Yeah, oh yeah.
but
This is the one last score.
one last score. ULM, the Warhawks, and Terry Bowden. He's gotta make one last heist. Maybe he'll steal a win from Texas first
So
game of the
yeah,
year.
so
I doubt
let's
it,
talk
but
about
it'd be hilarious.
that. They open with a 4-game stretch that is pretty. I am proud of them. I wish them the best. They go to Texas for game 1, Nichols at home, at Alabama for game 3, and then they host their rivals week 4. I will call them Louisiana Lafayette, deferring to you, the Raging Cajuns. Number 16, we got Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald in his 17th year at Northwestern.
Wait, 17 years of Pat
Yeah,
Fitzgerald
I found that
at
out today, and
Northwestern?
I was legitimately
No,
shocked. He has been there for
it was like
so
a decade,
long.
maybe.
No, yeah, he's been there.
17
Yeah,
years? No way.
yeah. He got that job in 2006. He's only 47. I keep thinking like when in my mind, Pat Fitzgerald is like this grizzled old dude. We talk about him like he's 70 years old, grandpa from The Simpsons, like a feisty old man. No, he's just a sort of youngish head coach dude who just has this job forever now.
Okay. All right. That threw me off a little bit. All right.
So they have this weird thing where in 2020 they went to the Big Ten. They went to the Big Ten championship game. They went to the Citrus Bowl. They beat Auburn in the Citrus Bowl. And then last year it was just bad. It was 3-9, 1-8 in the Big Ten. They beat Rutgers. Yeah, at home though. Like at least the home crowd saw it. They open, of course, with our favorite game, the Ireland game, in week 0.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm still shocked at 17 years of Pat
Yeah, I
Fitzgerald.
know.
And you said he's 47?
Yeah, no, he's a young guy. He got that job when he was 30.
When he was 30.
Yeah.
Northwestern named him head coach. Okay.
Apparently so. That first game, that kickoff game against Nebraska in Dublin, I don't know. It made sense for a while because we were sending in like Notre Dame to Ireland. We were sending Boston College. That's vaguely Irish. And then now we're just sending stuff. New Mexico State, number 15. Jerry Kill is moving to Las Cruces. New Mexico State is our favorite thing to watch on whatever station we can find it on. Looking up the TV schedule from last year, it was on something called Aggie Vision an awful lot. And Aggie Vision sounds like beer goggles, but for farmhands. I don't know. Oh God. I know we watched that first UTEP game on like was it KVIA? KIVA?
KVIA El Paso is what we watched that on, like, not like on a streaming app. It was on, you had to go to like the actual website and then you'd have to click open the little window that what they would show ads in. That's what they were playing the game on, and you could expand it and watch it there. It was great.
Oh yeah, and those local Las Cruces El Paso ads were absolutely great. We will see once again, like just like Terry Bowden, they're paying Jerry Kill like no money to do this, but this is also supposed to be his like relaxing job. They just are going to be digging uphill this whole time. Number 14, Kent State. Now this one was interesting because I don't know that they would have been on anyone's radar, except we had one random morning where we looked at their next schedule for this year and found out that they have probably the worst opening 4 games. They're at Washington, at Oklahoma, Long Island at home, and at Georgia.
Yeah, I think you made a graphic because you said it was metal. It was metal as hell.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, it was. I think some Kent State fans in the mentions were just like, I hate that we do this every year, but we have to do it. And it feels like a similar situation to ULM, is that they have to get these pay games to keep their football team going, not just the football team, but the entire athletic department. Now, I mean, really, they still got a shot to win the MAC, honestly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If they could make it through not banged up.
That opening 4 games, we actually had in our mentions a former Kent State football player that was talking about that, going like, yeah, it's fun to go to these places. That's a lot of it too. But just the body beating you take, is just going to be
Yeah.
real rough here. Number 13. Have you considered Arizona State? Herm is going to be in his 5th season coming up. They are just in a weird spot right now.
I guess fire around Herm, I would say. Also around the athletic director, who was his former agent, I believe. Um, and there's some NCAA investigations. There's some interesting, there were some transfers out. They got a new transfer in. Um, we remarked that I think all of their quarterbacks wear these weird sleeves that are kind of baggy for some odd reason.
If we just go one spot forward, number 12, Arizona. I actually have a friend who's an Arizona fan who went to Arizona, and she is just like doesn't understand how things have just gone so badly so quickly. That it wasn't like they were ever good, but they were getting to bowls like 6-7 years ago, and then this.
Yeah, I just went through Arizona's history, and I was kind of amazed that like the last time they won the Pac-12 was in 1993, and that
Oh
was like a
God.
co-championship. But I know they're normally okay, maybe like a mid-tier bowl game, maybe like the Las Vegas Bowl or something of that nature. But I mean, after I guess Rich Rod was dismissed, and then followed up by Mr. Kevin Sublin of A&M, I guess, fame. They left, and then I don't know what happened there. But Jed Fish, he's been like an assistant coach his whole life. I think this is his first head coaching job.
Oh, is it?
I think so, just off the top of my head. But I mean, he's inherited a mess. 1-11 last year was. I mean, I feel like that's great. Even though they did lose to FCS Northern Arizona, and then this year they have. I mean, they open San Diego State Stadium, Snapdragon Stadium. They go play there. Then back at home, late night against Mississippi State, and then they invite North Dakota State in.
What are you doing,
Um,
Arizona? What
that
are you doing, Arizona?
I don't know. And then I've heard people that their over under for wins this year is 3.5.
It's funny because I've been throwing up all these like random graphics, all this, just stats that I've been pulling out of nowhere, and for some reason, Arizona shows up on every list, and I can't figure out why. It's not like I'm pulling bad stats, just weird stats. Oh, they'll have like the most, left-footed punted kicks blocked or whatever. Like just the weirdest stats I've ever seen. Arizona keeps showing up. I don't understand what they were doing last year, but it wasn't football like we know it. We'll put it that way.
Oh, we enjoy watching it though, right?
Yeah, because I never know what's going to happen there. Arizona is the beauty of the beauty of Arizona is that it's just chaos is the wrong word. It just seems like they're trying so hard to not get points. They're trying so hard to do all these other. It's like achievement hunting in video games, right? Like when you're like, oh, I'm going to do all the extra. Oh, I'm going to get all the extra little things. Like, are you going to win? No, I don't need that. I don't need to win. It's fine. I just need to get, I need to, cross the 20-yard line 40 times. That's it. Right. That's exactly how I feel watching them.
I mean, it's enjoyable. I'll just say that.
Number 11, USC. Lincoln Riley is heading all the way out to California, and now it's just sort of going, what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know that anyone knows, and that's the beauty of it.
I feel like this ranking, just being 11, is the situation where they fired Clay Helton, they hired Lincoln Riley, basically out of nowhere. That was kind of a shock. Now they have these weird, almost like Lincoln, you need to turn this around immediately expectations, I feel.
That feels it too, yeah.
I don't know if they'll stay in the poll if they start performing well, but I feel like just because there's so many questions, this ranking of 11th USC here, it's just so much up in the air, and it's a very confusing time for USC. So it's kind of like I want to watch. I don't know if it's just like Oklahoma fans hoping for the worst too. So
that that's again, like they still have some we'll call it jilted ex boyfriend energy. We hope he goes off and does fine, but if he doesn't, that'll be great too. Like it just a little bit of that still hanging in there.
A little, yeah, I would say
A little.
So
Number 10, Hawaii. After whatever Todd Graham did out there, we've now got Timmy Chang.
The return of Timmy Chang.
Now,
I mean, he's inheriting a mess. Like,
oh yeah, it's an absolute just crater at this point, which is unfortunate because we'll say it 1,000 times. Hawaii games are amazing. Like that's the nightcap. That's where we go. That's what we want to see when we're drinking the last beer, or nowadays more likely having a glass of water to counteract the beers beforehand. And, you know, it's 11:59 p.m. Central and Hawaii's going to kick off.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect nightcap to the day. And, you know, it's sad to see what the stadium happened. You know, we missed the commentator, right. Robert Kalua. So they're playing in like a high school stadium right now.
No, it only looks like it. That's their athletics.
Oh, it's their practice field.
Either their practice field or that's also their like athletics, their track and field stadium too.
Was the capacity only 9,000?
It's real low. Yeah, it's real low. They've expanded it a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. But this year they are going to Michigan, which ought to be a really fun game. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think that Hawaii getting the chance to go to the Big House is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting trip for them. I'm sure they fly all over the place naturally, and of course they kick off against Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's right.
That'll be fun. A week 0 game, just a few days away from that. That'll be our nightcap.
Yeah, wait, it says 4:30 p.m. Is that 4:30 local to Hawaii? I assume it is.
That's Hawaii time, so I believe that is like 10, or is it 9:30
Central? 9:30 Central.
Yep.
So that's going to be a perfect nightcap, and actually, not to spoil the rest of our rankings, but that is going to be a ranked versus ranked matchup for week 0 for us. Which I'm just saying, guys, big deal. Number 9. Kirk Ferentz in Iowa. Punts, baby.
Definitely. My favorite fact with Iowa, I mean, they did punt a lot, which is fine. He likes to punt and play field position. This is Iowa football. This is their brand. That's what they do. And my favorite fact is that everybody on the staff got a raise. And the lowest raise went to the offensive coordinator, his son, Brian Ferentz. So Iowa, again, like I think last year they made it to like rank number 2 overall.
Oh God, they did, didn't they? Oh, and then Purdue.
Yeah, they did.
Oh my God.
Yep. Well, that's what Purdue does. They do open with South Dakota State, and everybody's kind of picking that one as the FCS over FBS upset.
Number 8, our beloved Rutgers Scarlet Knights. They managed 5-8 last year, but that was 2-7 in the Big Ten. Now, Shiano has them kind of turned around, and their schedule isn't, minus, you know, the obvious, like, oh, they have to play the entire Big Ten East, which, yeah, that's a problem. But beyond that, I think they're going to have a pretty good year.
You know, I don't know if they'll make a bowl game at 5-7 again. You know, they did get called out of the blue to go play Wake Forest in the Gator Bowl.
Well, that's right. They got called up like with, you know, like 5 days in advance. Like, woke them up out of Christmas slumber. Ah, fine, we'll go play. Cool, wherever.
That's right. Shiano was like, let's go to Jacksonville.
So that's what every kid from New Jersey wants to hear the week after Christmas. Hey guys, we're going to Jacksonville. Let's go.
That's right.
Hope you have your shots. Let's go.
Let's go to Jacksonville.
Number 7. Duval. Number 7, the Auburn Tigers. Last year they had a really promising start to the season, and then, man, when they hit the skid just got real bad. They lost their last 5, including a bowl game against Houston.
Oh, then the offseason was, I think we had the graphic of where in the world is Brian Harsin. You know, the boosters tried to, I guess, have a coup and oust Harsin after his first year. There's a big change in his entire coaching staff. I think his defensive coordinator went to Oklahoma State. His offensive coordinator went, I can't remember where, but now he has all his guys in there. And then, I mean, you have boosters just waiting to oust him at the first sign of any trouble. So
now, do you remember who?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember who his offensive coordinator was?
Oh no, it was Mike Bobo.
It was Mike Bobo, and Mike Bobo this year is an analyst at Georgia. He's coming home, guys. Number 6, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vandy is so much fun because they know where they are and they just play the cards that are dealt. occasionally they have a 6-6 season and it feels really good. Last year was not one of those seasons.
They had two really great games last year. Really enjoyable to watch. The one where they played at Colorado State, and they won, I think, on a last-second field goal. And then the UConn game where they won on a last-second field goal. That was their two wins last year. They were, I mean, incredibly feisty in those games. I would like to see a little bit more improvement, but I mean, we're gonna watch Vandy all the time, and they do warrant their ranking. I mean, I think there was one point where Vandy was playing Georgia last year. We were counting how many yards Vandy had compared to how many points Georgia had, and I think Vandy barely edged it at the end. Even though they lost 62-0.
Here we go. Total yards: Vanderbilt 77, Georgia 62.
It was close.
It was close.
So 77 to 62 yards to points. We I did a deep dive in Vandy in the offseason. Didn't realize that they're like 1920s and 1915 team, just scoring like points like crazy. It was fun to get into the team's history. Again, they open at Hawaii. We look forward to that tremendously.
Number 5, Rock Chalk, Kansas Jayhawks. Lance Leipold is doing some good things there, and I know our Texas fans are going to start flinching, but they beat Texas last year and the year before, I believe. Like, that's 2 in a row now.
No, not 2
Oh, it wasn't 2 in a row? Okay.
Don't do that.
It was
2016 and last year. Give the Texas fans a reprieve.
I was like, I think that's 2 in a row now.
Give them a reprieve here. No, I remember watching the first game when they were playing against South Dakota. They won that game, and I believe they stormed the field. That was fantastic. And then they had a game when Oklahoma was playing them last year. They like put out the social media thing like, hey, all the gates are open. All your students are welcome to come here. And they were fighting with Oklahoma, and they took them to the wire, and there was a questionable call that went against them. Yeah, that was a little bit of a fun season. And then the huge Texas win out of nowhere because they had lost like 7 in a row, or was it 8 in a row until they won that game?
Yep.
Yeah. And it was at Texas, which is shocking. It was a great game. It was a fantastic game. I think it was our second ranked game of the year last year.
Number 4, our UMass Minutemen. Coach Don Brown, the most northeastern dude we have ever found.
Oh, man. I think we made jokes about him like his clam chowder better not be runny. He'll get upset. Yeah, that UMass is they had a rough season last year. Their one win was over UConn. We watched that game on Flow Sports, which is it's a streaming provider that it's like $20 a month compared to like ESPN Plus, which is like
with no like
$6 or $7 a month.
Right. Well, and their big thing is like there's no trial either. Nope, you got to pony up the cash straight ahead because they know that you're going to be running after you watch some of the stuff on there.
Definitely. Like, I mean, if you're a true sicko, you're going to pay me $20 for a full month of this streaming UMass football, and of course I paid it. I'm not afraid to admit that I paid to watch that game.
Don Brown, like I said, has one of like the most New England careers. He was a quarterback at Norwich, which is this like tiny school in Vermont. He also coached at Dartmouth, at Yale, Plymouth State, was at UMass first time around when they were at FCS, Northeastern. He was at UConn as a defensive coordinator, at Boston College defensive coordinator, and then he went to Michigan for 4 years. And Michigan fans have like their various opinions of the Don Brown experience there.
That was the furthest west that he had ever been until.
And then he went to Arizona in 2021. And I assume he took one step off the plane, felt that heat, and was like, I'm never doing this again.
So he was the defensive coordinator of a 1-11 team, and then he inherits a team that went 1-11.
He's also old enough to like have one of those careers where like he was Yale's like baseball coach in '92 too. Whenever you if you guys have never looked at like old coach records, every once in a while you'll find like a coach who's like, oh yeah, he was the football coach and he was also the baseball coach and the basketball coach and he taught, physics or something.
It's like every teacher in high school.
High school's just catching up.
He was also the school nurse.
I can just imagine, like, he is definitely the kind of coach that's like, take a salt tablet. Like, we're going to rub some dirt on that. It's fine.
Walk it off.
He has tossing the medicine ball around. Yeah. He has one of those old, like, those weight belt jiggly things. Just a bunch of these like giant linemen just standing there in these like weight jiggly things. I don't know, coach, but it feels real good. I like this. They certainly have a schedule. Man, they're going to Kyle Field. UMass is going to walk into Kyle Field during SoCon Challenge Week and just absolutely enjoy the beautiful stadium.
Huh.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
That may be. Huh. Okay.
November 5th is the when to mark on that. It is at UConn this year, the big rivalry game. That game, guys, is always so much fun because both teams really, really care about it, and we really, really care about it, and it's a lot of fun to watch that game.
I thought they moved that one to the Friday on the 4th.
Did they? They may have. Wikipedia. You know what? Wikipedia may not be the most up to date. I have found several times going through not the biggest teams. Occasionally, Wikipedia's people do not update as quickly as you would consider. Number 3, Texas is back? ?
The endless Texas is back question. There's some big hopes this year for Texas. There's like that one internet video that I love so much. It's a Texas fan basically talking to himself to talk him into being a Texas fan again this year, and asking him to drink the Texas fan Kool-Aid. They'll be tested early, but this is one of the teams that is Sickos. Mostly, I can see why they get a lot of votes, is because, I mean, they were 5-7 last year, and then the expectations this year is like you need to go 11-1 and win the Big 12, or like 10-2, and it's just
so
like
insane. Oh my god!
Calm down a little bit, Texas fans, please. But it's like the outside, everybody's like really enjoys like the Texas is back thing, and Texas is not back, and I feel like that's one of the most Sickos things is that they love to throw their horns down. Everybody loves to throw it, except like Texas fans. I mean, you see like babies in an East Carolina College World Series game, like toddlers throwing down horns down. Like people love to do the horns down and root against Texas for some reason, but it's the age-old college football question that always comes back: is Texas back? It's almost like, is the U back? But the Texas is back is like almost like 20 times that.
They play Alabama week 2, and I'm looking forward to that game for a lot of reasons. What I really hope,
I think a lot of us are.
What I really hope is that Quinn Ewers just does not get massacred in that game, because they've picked their shiny new quarterback. He's the Ohio State transfer. They also play UTSA, which UTSA was our beloved team last year. Meet. They did awesome. Don't know what they're going to look like this year, but I wouldn't want a feisty in-state rival who has nothing to lose come into my town.
And they've never played. They've never played each other either.
Have they really not?
This
is
like
never.
Huge,
oh wow.
No, I don't believe they've ever played each other. And I mean, it's really not that far away from each other either. So it's a short trip down I-35 to Austin. The first 3 games of Texas is going to be a lot of interesting things. They got all 3 games at home. The first one is like, hey, here you go. Here's Terry Bowden and Louisiana Monroe. Money game. Let's get you warmed up before Bama comes to town.
They're putting that in the Longhorn.
Bama comes to
putting
town.
that on the Longhorn Network. Come on. That's got to be an ESPN2 at least, man.
Yeah. The first 3 games of this year will tell a lot of Texas's season. And I feel like that's why. And then their first road trip is all the way out in Lubbock, Texas Tech. So it'll be interesting. And if they come through it unscathed, we're going to get that Texas is back.
Number 2 is UConn. The Huskies. This is going to be the first year of the Jim Mora Jr. experiment. Hashtag Husky Revolution. What was the thing they said today? What was on their wall today?
On the wall today, evidently it pertains to just their defensive line. But there's something painted on their wall in the locker room. It says War Daddies.
Okay. Yeah, if I had paint and some stencils, I'd do it too. Why not?
Jim Mora Jr., no connection to Connecticut. I think like his lineage is basically the state of Washington. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm very interested in it. They appear to be recruiting better. That's what Jim Mora Jr. does. He will recruit. But I know that their defensive coordinator, had to step away for a little bit. Hopefully everything's okay there. I'm not 100% sure. Lou Spanos is okay. It feels like Jim Mora Jr. may be doing the same thing that Terry Bowden did, like coming back for one more score. Hey, my buyout money ran out, and I need to be a coach somewhere. What happened was he at UCLA a few years ago, and then like I guess his buyout is done, and then now it's he's back coaching again.
So Mora is 60 and Don Brown is 67. It's going to be the most
Wait,
aggressively
Jim Moore Jr. Jim Moore Jr. is 60.
60. Yes, sir. He was born in LA apparently.
I am old. All right.
So yeah, Jim Mora Jr. is
Wow.
60 years old. Don Brown is 67. That game is going to be the most like aggressively old man football you've ever seen. Like there may be like a medicine ball tossing contest, out in the middle of the field.
And then those the things you put around your belt.
Yeah, get the little wiggly weight things.
The wiggly weight belts. That's what you call them. I really want to go to this UMass versus UConn game up there in East Hartford. I really want to go and I want to find a way to do it. It'll be a little bit of a flight and hotel and rental car for me because it's clear across the country from where I'm at, basically deep in the South. I would really want to. I really want to go to that game because that's always one of the Sickos' favorite games of the year. UConn, UMass, it's always up there for us.
Number one, I think we all sort of had it in our heart. We knew what was coming. Yeah. The best 3-9 team in the country last year, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Guys, I want to let you know, we don't enjoy bagging on Nebraska all the time. In fact, we have lots of conversations about maybe we let Nebraska go this week, but people just call for it. Nebraska fans call for it. At this point, they're just like standing up to the hurricane going, come on, fine, whatever, just throw it at me.
I mean, you have to feel bad for Nebraska.
There are a lot of folks from the 90s who will absolutely say you do not have to feel bad for Nebraska, but go ahead. Yeah.
I had my neighbor growing up, my across the street neighbor, a huge Nebraska fan. My mom growing up was, she's from Miami, so she grew up with the U. And every year at Christmas, this Nebraska fan neighbor, his name was Larry, instead of doing any Christmas lights on his roof or anything on his house whatsoever, he would always just decorate a big red N on his roof. That's it. Just a red N in lights. That is it. And when, I think in 94, yes, I'm old, that Nebraska beat the Hurricanes, that was just, the most torturous, New Year's time for me personally. But I would like to see Nebraska relevant again. I feel like they can be. They just seem to just hurt themselves and shoot themselves in the foot in the worst possible way at the worst possible time. And it was just you can't just do this to yourself again. And they did over and over and over. And it's just we don't want to rank you number one. Honestly, we want you to be good, but it's just Nebraska is just please just go 7-5, 8-4, go to a bowl game. Please. I'm begging you, Nebraska. Just please do it for the Sickos. We don't want to bag on you. And we appreciate the Nebraska followers. You guys, all of you, you guys and gals, took us in stride and really embraced us.
It's like watching, not to get F1 in our college football, but it's like watching Ferrari race. It's something's going to happen. You don't know what. It may not be their fault, but something's going to happen. No one can have that much bad luck all the time. Statistically, that's unlikely. They'll put it that way.
That's why they're they were our Sickos national champions last year. This is why they're ranked number one. They have the crazy Ireland game. Then they played North Dakota, which they don't have a bye. They go.
Oh God, they're coming
play
straight
a game
back
in Ireland and straight back to play a game against an FCS team, but it's North Dakota, not North Dakota State, but still. I think last year they had to play 9 games in a row without a bye. So at least this year they have only 4 games, but an Ireland trip mixed in there, which
that's not a lot of not a lot of turnaround. I'm going to say that. I'm an old man like you are. I wouldn't schedule a trip like that for myself. I would put in a week off. I'd call in a week of work and be I'm coming back from a vacation. I don't know if I'm feeling this week.
You got to sandbag a few days once you get older, right? You drive, 9 hours or whatever you have to schedule in a day of rest after you get back. You can't just get back to action. Now these are college kids, so hopefully they can bounce back, and hopefully they have a lot of positivity coming back with them after the Ireland game. We can hope.
I'm very much hoping for them. I think that our top 25 this year to start off with is really good. If you guys don't know, we don't do a top 25 every week because we like to let things settle a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll get you another one after week 5, I think, and then after week 9, and sort of go from there. See what teams are starting to move up and down. As always, you can find us at Twitter at Sickos Committee. I think that what we're aiming for is at least to do once a week going forward. We'll see how that goes. We'll talk about sort of our upcoming games of the week. For week 0, we have things like Vandy and Hawaii that we definitely want to talk about as well. Kamish, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I just appreciate everybody following, and thank you for listening. If you wanted to listen to our ramblings, it's fantastic. I've been enjoying trying to do the Substack and continuing the Adopt a G5 team, process here by me randomly mapping out teams that you could possibly root for on some randomly asked questions that I just pose in my head and try to get into each P5 team's mindset. Just trying to expand the college football world of the P5 fans so they can follow some additional teams and watch all the Sickos games that we watch here. Because I mean, as Sickos, we just want to watch everything. It's not like we're calling your team a sicko. It's us. We're the Sickos. So we're the ones that just can't get enough college football, and we will jump through hoops to watch all the games, and just want to give you, I guess, a rooting interest, and we appreciate that. So if you want to subscribe to that newsletter, we'll try to continue that throughout the year, maybe with some maybe recaps or some previews and things of that nature. But otherwise, I appreciate you listening to this. I don't know how much you enjoyed it, but thank you if you made it all the way through here.
I also want to say thank you to a whole bunch of folks that will have to actually get what they want to be called on the air. But just so you guys know that it's just the two of us talking right now, but honestly, we have so many people that help us out with this. It's truly a committee. It's a bunch of folks that love college football like we all do, that we all happen to be together, and we just toss ideas around, and they post the fun stuff. You've met some of them already because they've done our directrix of Sickolytics and other stuff like that. Our Detmer score was all by other folks. And so throughout the season, we'll have them come on. We just started this with the two of us because we wanted to make sure that this whole thing would even work at all.
Yeah, I'm currently podcasting from my closet, so we'll see how this works out in the future. And I mean, we definitely do appreciate everybody in the Sickos committee. We have so many fans of college football, and their fandoms are just all over the place. The Twitter account was just meant for like 30 of us, and it just kind of took off and went crazy when I started tweeting last year. And basically trying to take on the persona of the Sickos guy. And now I'm here doing a podcast in my closet. So it's working out great for me.
It's working out good, man. We'll see you guys next time.